The most popular girl in our class was diagnosed with cancer, and she wanted every student to give her a year of their life. She claimed she had a life share system and begged the entire class to link with her. Sob every time I lie alone in that cold hospital room. I feel so scared and helpless. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid I'll never see you guys again. If each of you just gives me 1 year of your life, I can keep having fun with you, fooling around with you, and we can all grow old together. I can be your beloved Holly forever. When the time comes, all you'll need to do is accept a simple sacred light ceremony. We were all young and reckless, thinking a year was nothing. Everyone eagerly agreed. In my last life, I thought the whole thing was too bizarre and creepy, so I told my parents about it. As a result, on the day of the ceremony, our classmates were grounded, and no one showed up. The class sweetheart died in her hospital bed. My classmates were furious. They kidnapped me, dragged me out to the middle of nowhere to curse and beat me, and then tortured me to death. When I opened my eyes again, I was reborn right at the moment my classmates agreed to link to the system and give her their lives. What they didn't know was that the life share system was originally called the life sacrifice system. 1 year of life equals 1 organ. To give the class sweetheart a year, they would have to randomly sacrifice one of their own organs. This time, not only did I keep my mouth shut, but I also slapped my black card down on the table. Whoever gives our dear Holly a year of their life, I'll give them $100,000. 10 years gets you $1 million. And so on. No limit. I'll live to be 70 or 80, no problem. What's 1 year? You venomous, heartless monster. You're just jealous that Holly is more popular than you, so you're trying to get her killed. Since you killed our Holly, you should pay with your life. Go die already. When I opened my eyes again, the insults my classmates hurled at me before I died were still ringing in my ears. As I finally shook myself free from the terror, I saw my classmates pounding their chests, promising to link with the system and give the class sweetheart their life force. Our dear Holly, a single year is nothing. Don't worry about it. As long as you can live, we'll do anything for you. Once you're better, we'll all take the SATs together, go to the same college, and never be apart. Exactly. Besides you, there are 50 of us in this class. If everyone gives you a year, you'll live as long as anyone else. What's 1 year? I'll give 2. We have to make sure our Holly lives a long, long life. That last comment got a lot of students fired up. I'll give 2 years too. Me too. My grandpa read my fortune and said I'll live to be 100, so I'll give you 5 years, the jock of the class said, waving his hands excitedly. Holly, the class sweetheart, was so moved her eyes turned red. Thank you everyone. After the sacred light ceremony, I'll be able to live a full life, sing for you, dance for you, and be your Holly forever. Instantly, the classroom erupted in cheers and happy faces. Suddenly, hey Luna, why are you just standing there not saying anything? The whole class is chipping in. Aren't you willing to give up 1 year? Luke glared at me, his eyes sharp. Seeing him made my skin crawl. In my past life, after Holly died, he was the one who led the group that knocked me out. When I woke up, I was already in the middle of nowhere, captured by my classmates. He also had another identity. He was a scholarship student my family was sponsoring. Because of this, I always looked out for him at school, which made him mistakenly think I had a crush on him. He always spoke to me in a bossy, condescending way. I tried to explain that he misunderstood, but he never believed me. I was magnanimous and just laughed it off, not bothering to argue. I never imagined that the very person I had been helping would be the one to push me into hell. Thinking of this, my expression turned cold. Before I could speak, Holly started crying. Everyone, please don't make things difficult for Luna. We all have our own thoughts, and even if we don't agree, we should be respectful. I can't expect everyone to like me. And we're talking about a year of life, after all. It's normal not to be willing. She bit her pale lip, looking utterly pitiful. Her passive-aggressive words immediately put me in the hot seat. In an instant, my classmates turned on me, their eyes filled with fury. Well, are you going to do it or not? She's a rich princess. Her life is precious, you know. Look at her sour face, like her parents just died. She's probably not going to do it. Besides, she's always been dead jealous of Holly. She loves causing trouble. Getting her to help our beloved class sweetheart? Impossible. But whatever. With all the years we're giving, Holly will live a long life. It doesn't matter if she contributes or not. Luna, if you're not willing to help, then get lost. You're an eyesore. That last part just wouldn't do. The real show was about to start, and I was the main character. My silence was my answer. I glanced up and saw the look of regret in Holly's eyes. A thought struck me. So she knew about the system's side effects. She must be pissed that I wasn't offering up my life. Holly had always been jealous of my family's wealth, so she constantly targeted me and tried to turn the other students against me. Over time, with her class sweetheart halo, I became the thorn in everyone's side. Everyone listened to me. Luke waved his arms and shouted. He looked around at the class and said, "It's true that it doesn't matter if Luna doesn't want to give a year. But the SATs are in 3 days, so the sacred light ceremony in 2 days has to go off without a hitch. But what if she tells someone what happened today? Our parents would never let us out of the house. We could lose our Holly forever." Right. It dawned on everyone, and they crowded around me. Holly looked terrified. She hadn't thought of that. I looked at Luke's smug grin and had a flash of insight. He was reborn too. He never pulled a stunt like this in my last life. But him being reborn was even better. When Luke ends up disabled, the contrast with my ignored warnings from our past life will make his suffering so much sweeter than anyone else's. In my last life, Holly sent me a text right before she died. "You bitch, this is all your fault. Even if they gave me a year, the side effect is just losing an organ. It's not life-threatening, but you had to interfere. But don't worry, after I'm gone, they'll make you join me. Ha ha ha." I showed that message to my classmates, but no one believed me. They said I was so vicious I wouldn't even let the dead rest in peace. And they became even more brutal. I suppressed my rising anger. "So what do you want to do?" Luke was clearly prepared. "Swear an oath. A blood oath. Swear until we're satisfied." The other students all agreed. They couldn't think of a better solution at the moment. And since their precious Holly wasn't dead yet, they weren't as unhinged as they were in my previous life. Fine. Without a second thought, I agreed. "I, Luna, swear to God that if I tell anyone what happened today, may my parents be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. And may my own flesh rot away, and may I die in excruciating pain." The room fell silent. No one expected me to make such a vicious oath. The way they looked at me changed. Everyone was quiet. Even Luke didn't say another word, just stared at me suspiciously. I laughed to myself. Why would I ever reveal this in this lifetime? How could I get my revenge if I didn't watch them swallow this bitter pill? In fact, I was more than willing to add fuel to the fire. They stopped paying attention to me. They all gathered around Holly, fussing over her. "Thank you all for holding me so close to your hearts and loving me so much. I'm so touched," Holly said, relieved. She looked at her classmates, her eyes welling up again. "Holly, don't say that. You're our class sweetheart, and you deserve to be treated like one." "Exactly. Enough talk. Hurry up and link us to your system. Yeah, once the binding is successful and our years are confirmed, you can have the sacred light ceremony. You'll be our beautiful little angel again." Holly was overjoyed and nodded repeatedly. I watched from the sidelines, a cold sneer on my face. The wickedest heart belongs to a woman. That described Holly perfectly. Just as she was about to speak, I cut her off. "Wait a minute," I shouted. "Luna, are you insane? Are you starting trouble again? If you want to give a year, fine. But why are you barking like a dog? Why haven't you left yet? Yeah, get out of here. Are you trying to sabotage the system link and indirectly kill our Holly? A lookpard can't change its spots." One after another, my classmates launched into personal attacks again. Holly looked anxious, terrified I would pull some stunt and ruin everything. The glares from my classmates grew more hostile. Luke looked like he was about to get physical. I fought back my anger and explained, "I think you've all misunderstood. It's like this. While I'm not willing to give a year of my life to Holly, I am willing to contribute in my own way." Luke's expression turned strange. "What way?" I immediately pulled the black card out of my pocket and slapped it on the table. "I might not be willing to give my life, but I have money. I'm willing to buy years for Holly. Holly's eyes lit up, and she looked at me expectantly. The others were just confused, not understanding what I meant. My voice was firm as I announced, if you give Holly 1 year of your life, you can get $100,000 from me. And so on. There's no limit. The room went completely silent. Some of the students from poorer families had a flicker in their eyes. They were clearly tempted. $100,000 a year. 10 years would be $1 million. In today's world, if you came from a poor family and didn't have great grades, could you make $1 million in 10 years? Keep dreaming. It was impossible. The poorest kid in class was the first to shout, his eyes fixated greedily on my black card. Luna, are you serious? I remembered this guy vividly. He had kicked me in the head at least 8 times in my last life. I nodded proudly. My word is my bond. Deal. The student rushed over to Holly. Holly, quick, let us link up. I want to give you 20 years of my life. Now even Holly was stunned, completely baffled. But urged on by the student, she quickly activated the system. Binding successful. User Kevin has voluntarily gifted the host 20 years of life. As if to prove its existence, the system played a friendly notification sound for everyone to hear. The money. Kevin rushed over to me, his eyes bloodshot as he held out his hand. A smirk played on my lips as I took out my phone and called the bank. Soon, $2 million appeared in Kevin's account. Kevin was trembling with excitement. The way he looked at me no longer held the usual disgust. There was even a hint of gratitude. My gaze was intense as I scanned the crowd. Next, the students saw the hard cash in Kevin's account. Their breathing grew heavy. In an instant, a long line formed in front of Holly. As soon as they were successfully linked, they came straight to me to collect their money. I didn't hesitate, paying them exactly what they were owed based on the years they gave. 2015, 10 years, those were the most common amounts. The students from well-off families gave 3 to 5 years. After all, they were still students. Even if their families were rich, they didn't have much pocket money themselves. With the SATs over soon, having a few $100,000 in their pockets would be amazing. The most impressive was the class jock. He clearly believed his grandpa's fortune-telling and was convinced he would live to be 100. He generously gave 30 years of his life and walked away with $3 million from me. Holly was grinning like an idiot. She just kept smiling and smiling, unable to say a word. And why not? Who would complain about having too much life? At this rate, she could probably live for a few hundred years. The thought of that number made Holly want to burst into song, but she managed to restrain herself given the circumstances. Luke was the last one to link with the system. Binding successful. User Luke has voluntarily gifted the host 1 year of life. As the system's announcement sounded, the other students all gave him surprised looks. Everyone knew Luke was Holly's most loyal simp. But now, he was the one who had given the least. Hurry up and give me the money. After linking with the system, he walked up to me, rattled off his bank account number, and spoke with an impatient tone. I chuckled coldly. What money? You cheapskate. You talk a big game, but when it comes to it, you're the one who gives the least. I bet all that time you were being so nice to Holly was just an act, wasn't it? Luke started to get flustered. But I didn't give him a chance to argue, pressing my attack. You what? The facts speak for themselves. The person who gave the least in the entire class gave 3 years. I maxed out my card. We all made huge contributions for Holly's sake. And you? You gave 1 measly year. Luke, it turns out you're just a selfish little jerk. That little bastard. If he hadn't led the charge to kidnap me in my last life, I wouldn't have died so horribly. So, I wasn't going to miss any opportunity to give him a hard time. As soon as I finished speaking, everyone, including Holly, looked at him with disdain. Luna's right. You only gave 1 year, you shouldn't even ask for the money. How embarrassing is that? He's always so eager to tell us to take care of Holly, but when it's his turn, I mean seriously. I think we misunderstood Luna before. The fact that she's willing to spend tens of millions for Holly shows she's a person who values relationships. Thinking back, it seems like you were the one stirring up trouble between us and Luna. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. They took my money, so of course they have my back. Hearing their ridicule, Luke was about to explode with rage, but there was nothing he could do but glare at me fiercely. He never expected me to turn the tables on him, or that the other students would stop siding with him. He rushed over to Holly in a panic. "Holly, don't listen to that bitch-ass nonsense. I've always been the best to you, you know that." Suddenly, the system's notification cut him off. "Congratulations, host. You have acquired 587 years of life." In an instant, the room fell dead silent. Everyone froze in place. 587 years. Their expressions began to shift, and they all fell silent. When the students looked at Holly, their eyes were red. An uncontrollable wave of intense jealousy began to bubble up inside each of them. I watched coldly, sneering inwardly. After jealousy comes greed. I was very curious. Would Holly still be their class sweetheart? Holly clearly noticed something was wrong. Her eyes darted around. "Everyone, I have good news. The system said that after you've helped me, it will randomly select one of you to be the next host within a month." The room erupted in a commotion. As expected of the class sweetheart, they all believed her without question. They were all hyped up, their faces flushed with excitement, each of them dreaming of being the next lucky one. Seeing that she had placated the crowd, Holly finally let out a sigh of relief. Wow, she really had her ways. I had to admire that. The most miserable one was Luke. He watched me walk away, gritting his teeth. He had the worst luck, losing a year of his life for nothing. The students went wild, heading out with their newfound fortunes to spend, arms slung over each other's shoulders. "Luna, stop right there." Luke caught up to me. My face was cold. "What is it? You need something?" His eyes were locked on my face, as if trying to see through me. After a long moment, he finally said, "You were reborn too, weren't you?" I frowned. "Reborn? I don't know what you're talking about." Looking at my innocent face, Luke felt a storm of conflicting emotions. He had indeed been reborn. His greatest wish in this life was to keep Holly alive. Now my throwing money around had sent everyone into a frenzy of giving away their lives. This was a completely different approach from my last life, and while it had achieved his goal, it also sent a chill down his spine, because he remembered the text message from Holly that I had shown everyone in our last life to prove my innocence. The message clearly stated that 1 year of life required the sacrifice of a physical organ. Luke was terrified. He couldn't help but suspect that the message was real, and that everything I was doing was a deliberate act of revenge against everyone. That was why he played it safe and only gave 1 year of his life. "All right, from now on, don't talk to me. A stingy person like you doesn't deserve to be my classmate, and you don't deserve to cherish our Holly with us." I used the same condescending tone Luke used to use on me, taunting him until he was seething. I ignored him. As for his venomous glare, I couldn't care less, because the dozen bodyguards my dad had arranged were already in position up ahead. Until this group of people went to hell, the bodyguards would protect me around the clock. This time around, my life was the most important thing. Just then my dad called. "Sweetie, what did you spend over 50 million on?" My dad asked, his tone gentle and amused. A warmth spread through my chest, but then I thought of my horrible death in my last life. Holding back tears, I said in a whiny voice, "I was playing a little game with my classmates, and I lost." "Oh, that's fine. I'll deposit another 100 million in your account in a bit. Spend it however you want." 2 nights later, at an abandoned elementary school in the countryside, a bus pulled onto the playground. The students carried Holly, dressed in a white dress, and filed out of the bus. "Holly, let us get started. It's time to witness a miracle." It wasn't easy sneaking out. "The SATs are tomorrow, we have to get back and study soon." Right. But most importantly, which one of us will the system choose as the next host? I'm so excited. What's the rush? Didn't Holly say the system has a 1-month observation period? Just be on your best behavior. I stood at a distance, watching my classmates rubbing their hands together in anticipation, a wide smile on my face. The system choosing a new host? Not even a dog would believe the crap that came out of Holly's mouth. Soon, everyone except me formed a circle, with Holly in the center. Holly was trembling with excitement. The system's notification sound rang out again. The sacred light ceremony will now begin. As soon as it finished speaking, a white light radiated out from Holly's body in a circle, instantly covering all the students. I noticed Luke's nervous expression and sneered. He was probably still agonizing over Holly's text message from our last life. The next moment, a bizarre scene unfolded. After the white light touched the students, it quickly retracted, and within the returning white light, there were visible streaks of blood. The amount of blood drawn out by the light varied from person to person. The most came from the jock, and the least from Luke. I narrowed my eyes, a sense of understanding dawning on me. After the white light returned, it all drilled into Holly's body. In an instant, the once pale Holly shot up from her wheelchair. Not only was her face rosy and her posture perfect, but her beauty and aura had also leveled up several notches. Even a rich girl like me, who had been pampered since birth, felt a sense of inadequacy standing before her. It seemed they had given up more than just years of their lives. Holly is really healthy. This is amazing. My God, Holly, you're so beautiful. You look like an angel. I don't think any celebrity can compare to you. The students crowded around Holly, laughing and celebrating, just like old times. Only I had my brows furrowed, knowing things weren't that simple. Because for now the students' bodies were fine, with nothing amiss. For every gain, there must be a loss. I firmly believe that the world operates on balance. Luke ran up to me, his face ecstatic, and mocked me without holding back. See? You were lying to us in our last life after all. You really are just a wicked person. We're so good to Holly. How could she ever harm us? As he spoke, he slapped his perfectly intact body with both hands, overjoyed. He had spent the last 2 days in a state of constant fear, terrified that he would become disabled after the sacred light ceremony. At this moment, he was finally relieved. Well, congratulations then. I replied nonchalantly, then got back into my Maybach at the school gate, watching the crowd on the playground without moving. Holly began to sing and dance for everyone. The cheers grew louder and louder. Finally, after more than an hour, everyone got back on the bus and started the journey back. My Maybach followed closely behind. As time went on, my frown deepened. About halfway through the trip, the driver suddenly spoke. Miss, on our way here, I noticed a mudslide warning sign on the road ahead. I'll get through it as quickly as possible, so please hold on tight. Of course, it would be best to inform your classmates to be careful. I, who had been puzzled, suddenly had a flash of insight and quickly said, "Stop the car." The car stopped, and my eyes were fixed on the bus ahead, from which singing could be heard. Not far in front of the bus, I could make out the general situation with the help of my headlights. A mudslide warning sign was placed by the side of the road. Behind the sign, there was a small pile of mud and rocks. To the upper left was a steep slope of yellowish earth and rock. To the right of the road was a cliff with a steep drop. Could it be? As the bus continued forward, a loud roar suddenly ripped through the air, shaking everything. I watched as the mountainside to the left of the bus collapsed without warning, and several massive boulders, along with a torrent of mud, came crashing down. Crunch! Several boulders, each as tall as a person, smashed mercilessly into the side of the bus. In an instant, the bus tipped over and rolled off the cliff to the right. So that's how it is. I laughed wildly in my head. As I got out of the car, I yelled, "Driver, call 911, quick! My classmates just went off a cliff." System. The entire city was in an uproar. A bus full of students, about to take their college entrance exams, had plunged off a cliff. This was a major incident. Rescue teams rushed to the scene immediately. Countless reporters and social media influencers swarmed the area. Parents who received the news hurried over, crying and wailing, creating a scene of utter grief. Teachers and the principal also arrived one after another. The darkness of the night made the rescue efforts difficult. Fortunately, the cliff wasn't too high, so there was a chance of survivors. Major platforms started live streaming the rescue operation. The incident shot to the top of the trending lists, capturing the nation's attention. As time passed, they pulled one out. It's a girl, and she is completely unharmed. Cheers erupted at the scene. I looked closely. Who else could it be but Holly? She was crying her eyes out, screaming non-stop. "Don't worry about me. Save my classmates, please. Sob. That single line earned her countless praises and a legion of fans on the live stream. The live chat started flooding with comments. What a kind-hearted girl. Thinking of her classmates first at a time like this. So admirable. Exactly. And she is so beautiful. Even more than a celebrity. I'm a fan. I hope the other students are as safe as she is. Unfortunately, fate had other plans. The second person to be rescued was, surprisingly, Luke. He was staring at his own left leg, his eyes filled with despair, moaning endlessly, looking like he had lost all will to live. Hiding in the darkness, I saw his condition and began to laugh silently. His left foot was a mangled, bloody mess. Amputation was inevitable. In the live stream chat. So tragic. I can't bear to look. Poor kid. The countless words of sympathy offered Luke no comfort. He finally couldn't take the reality of it and fainted. As time went on, one by one, the students were rescued. All of them were missing arms or legs, or were blind in one eye, or had lost an ear. Without exception, the number of missing organs matched the number of years of life they had given. It was hard to imagine the horrific state of the students who had given 20 or 30 years. And Holly, surrounded by reporters. Her tears never stopped flowing from beginning to end. Every time she saw a classmate being carried out, she would call out their name, then break down in tears, her grief moving everyone who saw her. Luna. Holly's sudden shout interrupted the wave of joy I was feeling. Luna, you're okay too. That's wonderful. I almost forgot. You weren't on the same bus as us, so you didn't fall off the cliff. She staggered toward me, and when she reached me, she hugged me tightly and sobbed. Everyone then noticed that there was another unharmed student. Hearing Holly's words and seeing the Maybach in the background, their expressions turned strange. She wasn't on the bus with her classmates, so she didn't fall. Because she's rich, she rides in a Maybach and wouldn't deign to ride with her classmates? And this Luna girl showed no sadness on her face, a stark contrast to the devastated Holly. Thinking this, everyone present began to look at me with disgust. Conspiracy theories started brewing in the live stream chat. Some people even began to speculate whether I had something to do with the bus crash. I could, of course, see right through Holly's performance. She was just trying to stir up trouble and make me a target. But my expression remained unchanged. I said coolly, Holly, stop crying. Crying won't save our classmates. I've already contacted my dad. All the students will be taken to my family's hospital for treatment, free of charge. My dad has also secured enough medical resources to do everything possible to save every single one of them. Holly was momentarily speechless. The people around me couldn't help but look at me in a new light. Their earlier suspicions vanished into thin air. That's right. Crying solves nothing. Helping the students with actual money and resources is what truly matters. In an instant, my popularity soared. But I turned and walked away, not answering any questions. Everyone seemed to understand. No wonder she didn't look sad or upset before. This Luna girl might be cold on the outside, but she was warm-hearted on the inside. Seeing that I was unharmed, Holly felt a pang of disappointment and could only continue to cry her heart out. There was nothing else she could do. The next day, before entering the exam hall, facing a barrage of cameras and microphones from reporters, Holly's eyes were red, and she fought back tears. My heart just hurt so much. I wished so badly that everything last night was just a nightmare. They should have been standing here with me. She finally wiped away a fallen tear. But no matter what, this is a path I must walk for them. Please pray for my classmates, and please cheer me on a little, okay? I will carry all of our light with me and illuminate that exam hall. Thank you, everyone. Her speech was met with a round of applause. I stood in the crowd, watching her performance with a silent smile, then became the first to walk into the exam hall, ready to face the most important moment of my life. At the same time, the hospital held a press conference. We regret to inform everyone that more than half of the students have lost their lives. This news did not come as a surprise to the public, who could only mourn for them. Many of them had been turned into piles of mangled flesh last night. Not even a miracle could have saved them. Of course, these were the students who had given the most years of their lives, and thus had sacrificed the most organs. After the SATs ended, Holly started a TikTok account and gained 1 million followers a day. She eagerly headed to the hospital, ready to film the first video for her account. She was determined to maintain her persona of a caring classmate to the very end. Get the hell out of here, you bitch. If I hadn't gone to that stupid ritual to give you life, would I be blind in one eye? Would I have lost all 4 limbs? My whole life is ruined. Do you have any idea? In the hospital room, the class's academic star roared at Holly as soon as she walked in. He was blind in his left eye, and all 4 of his limbs had been amputated. He lay in the hospital bed, suffering endless torment. Holly was taken aback, but her eyes quickly filled with tears. It was all an accident. A mudslide is a natural disaster. Who would want that to happen? I'm your Holly. How could you talk to me like that? You'll hurt my feelings. The student's veins bulged on his forehead, and his remaining eye filled with blood vessels. He hissed, Holly, my ass. Get out, or I'll get up and bite you to death. Holly had no choice but to flee in disgrace. Once out of the room, her eyes were filled with venom and schadenfreude, but she quickly adjusted her expression and walked into the next room. She refused to believe that all her classmates now hated her. The system had done a perfect job. The bus crash had absolutely nothing to do with her. However, in the second room, a classmate who still had one hand threw a teacup at her, cutting her head open. At that moment, Holly understood. This was human nature. Everyone was still blaming her. After all, the root of everything was that sacred light ceremony. She was no longer the class sweetheart. But that was fine. She could become the internet's sweetheart instead. Yet 3 years of being adored by her classmates left a lingering trace of unwillingness. She sought out her most loyal simp, Luke. But Luke terrified her even more. From beginning to end, Luke just stared at her, his expression impassive, not saying a word, like a living corpse. Holly didn't even dare to speak and ran away. I watched her retreating back and smiled knowingly as I walked into Luke's room. In our last life, you all beat me to death. Then you and I were both reborn. Luke's voice was heavy. I knew it. My guess was right. I curled my lip. Let me ask you, is there a chance you could be reborn one more time? Instantly, Luke's eyes lit up, and a murderous look filled his gaze as he stared at me. But when he saw the bodyguards who had suddenly appeared behind me, his fire was instantly extinguished. He understood that in this life, killing me again was impossible. I wouldn't give him another chance. But Luke looked in the direction Holly had fled. I saw this and I smiled. Time flew by, and half a year passed in a flash. A piece of news shocked the internet. Holly, hailed as the most beautiful top scorer, an angel on earth, and a goddess of kindness, had disappeared. No one could find her, dead or alive. In an abandoned warehouse in the middle of nowhere, Holly had a dirty sock stuffed in her mouth and was tied up on the floor, her eyes wide with terror. Around her, a group of disabled people stared at her like ghouls. Who else could this group be but my surviving classmates? Luke, according to you, in our last life we killed Luna to avenge Holly. And Holly knew that sharing a year of her life meant sacrificing an organ, but she maliciously made us linked to the system anyway. And Luna was reborn just like you. The money she spent was to buy our lives, to get revenge for her past life. The academic star sat paralyzed in his wheelchair, glaring viciously at Holly on the ground, his face contorted. I believe Luke. Everything he said adds up. I gave 5 years, and now I'm missing all 4 limbs and an eye. I gave 3 years, so I lost an ear, an arm, and a leg. I gave 4 years. Both my arms and legs are gone. I'm just a torso. The survivors, without exception, all matched up. Luke leaned on his crutch, his eyes wild. Since you all believe me, why don't we make a bet? What kind of bet? In our last life, we killed Luna, and she and I were both reborn. In this life, if we kill Holly, will she and I be reborn again? If I am reborn again, I'll know everything from the start, and I'll definitely stand up to protect all of you. The classmates burst into laughter, a chorus of ghostly wails. Yes, yes, yes. Our lives are ruined anyway. Living is worse than death. We have to bet on it. We must. Right, let us kill Holly first. If we're not reborn, then we'll find a way to kill Luna. I just want a second chance at life, sob. We're all disabled, and she gets to live for over 500 years? If she doesn't die, who should? Quick, let us all do it together. I can't wait anymore. With that, the group fell from their wheelchairs. Hopping on one foot, crawling, or wriggling, about 20 figures, in various twisted and broken forms, converged on Holly like avenging demons from hell. Holly died disfigured beyond recognition. Even worse than I had in my previous life. This scene was captured by a pinhole camera and sent to my phone. I, Luna, am an upstanding citizen. When a group of lunatics commits kidnapping and murder in an abandoned warehouse that I own, calling the police is my only option. My disabled classmates were all arrested. With all the evidence and witnesses, they would face the full force of the law. As for the public debate Holly's case would stir up, that had nothing to do with me. I went to the prison to visit my resilient and determined classmates. First I found Luke. As he stared at me with venomous eyes, a voice suddenly emanated from my body, a voice only he could hear. User Luke, binding successful. The host has forcibly taken 50 years of your life. This will take effect in 1 month. The familiar system notification sound rang out. Ah. Instantly, Luke pointed at me and screamed in terror, his face pale. He began to tremble, and the smell of urine filled the air. The guy pissed himself in fear. I pointed to my own nose and said with a bright smile, I don't know why, but it found me. And it looks like it got an upgrade. As soon as I finished speaking, Luke collapsed to the floor, feeling a bone-deep chill, his skin crawling. I stood up and left. The end.